Now available. Paperback and Kindle Unlimited. ISIS, the main event. It's carnage inside of a steel cage when the goddess next door steps in the squared circle with the beast from the boss in this action-packed all-new ISIS series adventure. Get ISIS, the main event, paperback and Kindle Unlimited today. Better get the coleslaw, y'all, cause we're having us a barbecue.
Super Bowl Sunday will be here before you know it. We're getting you a look at some of the security measures in place to keep fans safe. Plus, the Trump administration faces another lawsuit after trying to put all U.S. aid employees on leave. Those details next.
It's a beautiful scene at Falls River right now. The fog has lifted, just a few clouds, but the weather is simply gorgeous for the moment.
Live and local from Baton Rouge, Louisiana, this is WAFB 9 News at Noon.
Thank you for joining us for 9 News at Noon. I'm Liz Coe. We start with the latest developments out of New Orleans, where a woman from Slidell is arrested in connection to the death of a reporter who was in town to cover the Super Bowl. This morning, Kenner police say they arrested Danette Colbert after they learned she was allegedly using a Dan Manzano's credit card at several stores in the New Orleans area. Telemundo Kansas City shared on Thursday that Manzano died while he was on assignment in New Orleans. Investigators say security footage shows Colbert with Manzano on Wednesday morning. Investigators also say that the woman can be seen on video leaving his hotel room later that morning. Police say that Manzano was found unresponsive in his hotel room in Kenner. Right now, the suspect has only been booked for property crimes, which include fraud and theft offenses. Authorities tell us the woman has a prior arrest record which accuses her of drugging men, stealing cash, fraudulently using credit and debit cards.
Now, according to reports, 27-year-old Adnan Manzano was covering the Super Bowl in New Orleans for the Kansas City associate of Telemundo, KGKC. And as Adnan Manzano was covering the Super Bowl in New Orleans for the Telemundo associate, he decided to get involved with a black woman, Danette Colbert, and was eventually got comfortable enough with her to invite her back to his hotel room. And as he invited her back into his hotel room, video surveillance showed him and Danette Colbert coming into his hotel room around late 6 in the morning. And eventually, the only person seen leaving on video surveillance was Danette Colbert. And people started to get concerned when Adnan Manzano did not show up for a meeting, for an interview, and eventually decided to contact hotel staff, who found Adnan Manzano dead inside of his hotel room. Now, after finding Adnan dead inside of his hotel room, New Orleans police began to do an investigation and soon found that Adnan's cell phone and his credit card that he had used to purchase the whole space in the hotel room was missing, and eventually started to trace that credit card and found out that several purchases had been made, and eventually found out that Danette Colbert was in possession of that credit card and that cell phone once they took her into custody. Now, the police in New Orleans see the death of Adnan Manzano as an isolated incident as they've been doing their investigation, and they're trying to find out if Danette Colbert is complicit in that murder. And as they've been doing their investigation, again, they see his death as an isolated incident. But when I take a critical examination of Adnan Manzano's alleged behavior, it definitely fits the pattern and profile of men in crisis that I talk about in my book, The Man Crisis, and it also fits the pattern and profile of simps that I talk about in my book, Stop Simping, Why Men Don't Need Finance to Get Romance. Now, Adnan Manzano had been sent to New Orleans to cover the Super Bowl. However, under the cover of going to the Super Bowl, it looks like to me he was looking to go out here and participate in some behavior in the secret world. Now, in my book, The Man Crisis, I talk about how a lot of males look to express their natural masculinity and natural sexuality by getting involved with women who in the secret world, and possibly that's what Adam Manzano was looking to do as he was getting involved with Jeanette Colbert. It looks like to me that he possibly was looking to again get a little action on the side and do it under the covers, and as he got involved with Jeanette Colbert, he possibly looked to take her back to his hotel room, hoping that as he brought her back to the hotel room, he would be able to get her to drop the skid mark jockey thong, and he would be able to get a taste of the atomic waste from the special place, and it would be all his own personal secret as he was in New Orleans, and he would be able to just go out here and get with this woman, and then eventually just go back to doing work as related to covering the Super Bowl as usual. Unfortunately, what happened with Adam Manzano is that he wound up getting involved with a female predator with a history of arrests, of drugging and robbing men, and a female predator who basically didn't see him as a man who was available for an easy hookup. No, what she saw Adam Manzano was as is an easy mark that she could go out here and take advantage of because he was young and inexperienced, and because he was young and inexperienced, he didn't know much about life, and since he didn't know much about life, he didn't know how to read situations to see if he was in a very dangerous one. And as a traveler, he was in a very dangerous situation by, again, covering the Super Bowl without any sort of critical thinking or situational awareness, because he went out here thinking that he could just trust the first person to talk to him, and that's something that female predators look for as related to guys who are young, naive, and inexperienced about life. And Adam Manzano basically was, again, a young up-and-coming reporter who, yes, he had good business skills as related to to sports reporting, but he didn't have a lot of good interpersonal skills or social skills as related to, again, being able to navigate life and basically look out for his own safety. No, sadly, like a lot of simps, what happens with a lot of simps is that they get really mesmerized by what they think is a woman paying them a little bit of attention. And once a woman starts to pay them a little bit of attention, what happens is instead of these guys thinking critically, what they do is get in their feelings. And as they get in their feelings, what they do is go out here and act impulsively. And as they act impulsively, they wind up making decisions that put their health, their safety, and their freedom, again, intangibles that are important, they put them at risk. And this is where Adam Manzano wound up putting his most important intangible, his life, in danger, because as he was thinking to go out here and get with this 48-year-old woman, he wasn't thinking about how he was putting his life in danger, and not thinking about how he was putting his life in danger because all he was thinking about was getting the draws, not understanding that this woman was looking to screw him over. And she was looking to screw him over because what she wanted to do was possibly get this guy to either take a drink that had some drugs in it, or basically go out here and offer him some drugs and possibly look to use that drugging to again render him unconscious, and then hope to leave him with a whole lot of embarrassment as she jacked him for his credit card and his cell phone, and then went on to go out here on a spending spree until the credit card got reported. That was the plan of Jeanette Colbert, possibly in the case of Adam Manzano. Unfortunately, what happened with Adam possibly was he had a chemical reaction with whatever Jeanette Colbert possibly could have given him, or he could have basically had an overdose of something. I don't know what it is because we don't have the toxicology reports as related to this case, but the facts of this case are basically looking like, to me, this is what happens when a guy goes out here and again is a simp, because what happens with simps is that they think that they're going to go out here and get some easy sex, not understanding that oftentimes when a woman is offering you easy sex, a complete stranger, there's oftentimes a dangerous string attached to it, and that string could be one that winds up ending your life. And sadly, that's what happened here with Adnan Manzano. He basically got so caught up in getting the draws from this 48-year-old bust down with a bad wig that he basically wasn't thinking about more important intangibles as related to his manhood, like his health, like his safety, or even his own life. And sadly, he is no longer with us because he was just so caught up in, again, getting the draws that he wasn't thinking about what he was going to get when he got that woman in that room. And that's sadly what happens to a lot of guys who want to call themselves going out here and having hookups on undercover as they're on the job. They're thinking, oh, I'm just going to go out here and get a little draws, not understanding that in today's world, there are a lot of female predators out there looking to prey on men. And that's why the smart man, basically, when they're out here on assignment, on the job, they basically focus on the job and leave the local women in the street, because there's a reason why that woman is stepping to you. And again, a woman who steps to you in a town where you don't know, usually that's a red flag all around, because usually, again, if women are out here and they're looking for a guy, they don't really need to go up to guys. They wait for the guys to come to them. But when a woman is rushing up on you, again, that's a red flag. And a red flag that this chick basically is desperate. And again, desperate to engage you in conversation, because she knows that you don't know anyone here. And even more so, you're really naive and you really can't read the room. This is one of the things that a lot of simps don't know how to do, is read a woman's body language, read a woman's facial expressions, listen to the things that she's saying, because a lot of times these things will tell you if this chick is full of it. And again, if a older woman is stepping to you in a town that you don't know, again, this is a red flag all around. And looking at this chick who, again, had a bad wig and really had a whole bunch of makeup on, this was someone who basically saw an easy mark in Adnan Manzano, saw a guy who was really green and really had no seasoning as a man, and was possibly looking for an escape as related to things, because according to reports, they said Adnan Manzano's wife had passed away, and I guess he was looking to, again, get some sort of comfort from another woman. But sadly, as he looked for that pleasure as related to, again, that sexual encounter, he didn't see how this was going to screw him over, and screw him over badly, because what happened here was that he put himself in a place where he was set up to be a mark for a robbery. Because what a lot of guys think is that if they go to the hotel room, there's just going to be them privately, but that all works against them, and works against them because when it comes to that hotel room, it's just you and her in the room. And again, if it's just you and her in the hotel room, and you don't know what she's got and what she's carrying, again, you're putting your trust in someone who isn't really, you don't know if this person is someone who's looking out for your safety. And again, that's what these simps do, because they're so caught up in their lust, so caught up in getting the draws. And again, they get themselves in a jam as related to these kind of situations, because they just don't know how to operate as men. Because if you're on a job like a Super Bowl game, your focus should be focusing on the game. Don't worry about the females at this place. No, leave the females alone and focus on your job, because again, when a lot of women are stepping to you like that, again, it's a predator in it as related to things. Because again, quality women, they don't want to go to your hotel room just when you just came off the plane. No, that's telling you something is up. But this guy, again, didn't have enough seasoning in the game, and sadly, as he didn't have enough seasoning in the game of life, he wound up getting played before he even got to cover the Super Bowl. Now, Adnan Manzano was going to, again, cover the Super Bowl. This was going to be a major mark in his career, But sadly, because he didn't get that training in male life skills and male survival skills, he became the mark and became the target of a female predator. And that female predator might possibly be on the hook for his murder. I mean, this woman may possibly be possibly on the hook, because if they can prove that this was a result of the toxicology reports of her, again, his death being a drugging of this man, then this woman might be on the road to becoming a woman in crisis, who basically went from preying on men to being preyed on in prison. And the sad part about this, again, is that this whole incident just basically shows what happens when you go out here and simp. Again, simps don't understand how to operate as men, and sadly put themselves in dangerous situations, which lead to them eventually becoming marks and men in crisis. Now, if you want to learn how to identify the behaviors of predatory women and how to break out of a paradigm of being a simp, you can pick up my book, Stop Simping: Why Men Don't Need Finance to Get Romance, on Amazon.com in paperback and Kindle format. You can also find Stop Simping: Why Men Don't Need Finance to Get Romance at other online booksellers like Draft the Digital, Google Play, Barnes & Noble, and big box retailers like Walmart and Target. And if you want to learn why guys, again, wind up on a road where they wind up becoming men in crisis, and learn how to identify the behaviors of men in crisis, you can pick up my book, The Man Crisis, on Amazon.com in paperback and Kindle format. You can also pick up The Man Crisis at other online booksellers like Draft the Digital, Google Play, Barnes & Noble, and big box retailers like Walmart and Target. And if you'd like to see me make more videos about The Man Crisis, you can drop a donation to the Patreon, the PayPal, or the Cash App by clicking the links in the description box. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe. Coming to paperback and e-readers, John Haynes, A Thorn in My Side. The man who rules the world takes on an agent from the CIA from the Black Boule in this action-packed all-new John Haynes series adventure. Pre-order your copy of John Haynes' A Thorn in My Side at Amazon.com and other online booksellers. Support Black-owned and Black-operated digital broadcast media. www.niceradionetwork.com. Nice Radio Network, broadcasting 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.